All right, so Purdue was yet again embarrassed on the national stage. They lost to FDU, Fairleigh Dickinson, however you say it. They got in the tournament. They didn't even win their conference tournament because Merrimack, they couldn't qualify based on NCAA rules. They just moved up to D1. Fairleigh Dickinson, FDU gets in the tournament, and they play a great game against Purdue. They beat the number one seed as the 16 seed. And I really do think that they played a great game, but I'll give it to Jake first. Was this the worst loss on Purdue's part in college basketball history?
A couple times in the last couple of years, we've seen number 16 seeds beat number one seeds. Um, obviously Fairleigh Dickinson and Purdue this year. Um, Virginia, and I believe it was Oral Roberts the other year.
Oral Roberts was a 15 and a 2. They beat Ohio State as a 2. But here's the argument everyone's been saying is because UMBC was a 16, but everyone says they were
And then,
underseeded. Yeah.
right.
FDU wasn't. I got some numbers to back that up, but I'll let you finish your answer.
Yeah, and they obviously beat number one Virginia that year. Um, you know, it's definitely one of the most embarrassing losses in college basketball history. Um, the worst loss though, I don't know if I would give it to Purdue because they only lost by like 4 or 5, I think. And then if you look at back at a couple years ago, UMBC beat Virginia by almost 20, so that definitely was a worse loss than felt like Dickerson and Purdue. So
I just disagree. I think UMBC was a better team. I think they were underseeded at 16.
oh
Yes, they
yeah,
did
definitely a
pound.
better team.
Yes, they did pound them. They beat them by like 20. The second half was all UMBC. I do agree. And this one was more back and forth. But you got to look at the individual teams. FDU was ranked 298th out of 363. Think about that. In the nation, they made the tournament just because Merrimack couldn't make it. They're in the worst conference ranked. These are all NET rankings, by the way, on their website. They're ranked in the worst conference in college basketball, 32nd out of 32nd. And FDU's defense, which honestly won them the game, was ranked 362nd out of 363. There was only one defense ranked worse in Division One, and FDU shut down Purdue. So this is the worst loss in college basketball history. I haven't been around all along, but at least and I can remember this is far and away. UMBC was nowhere near this. This was a complete in credit, that coach, he had the really hype post game interviews and stuff. Credit to him. They played their butts off. I'm just saying in terms of the talent, Purdue versus Fairleigh Dickinson, it's just, it should have been unfair, but it wasn't. It just wasn't. And yeah, I think this is the worst loss, at least I can remember. But that kind of brings me to it. So FDU played really great defense in that game. How did they stop Zach Edey, the 7-4 phenomenon on Purdue?
Yeah, I mean, they just stopped them all game. I mean, there's just not much to it. They play great defense. I mean, it's not much to it.
Yeah, I think there is much to it. Well, not a ton, but I definitely think there is. They just surrounded him and they exposed Purdue. Okay, I give you this, that it was more of because Purdue had open shots all game. Like they did. They were just bricking the threes left and right.
Yeah,
There
they
was
were just missing.
Yeah, Jake makes a good point that because they focus in on him, but Purdue just didn't make their shots either, which makes it even worse. Zach Edey was getting like triple teamed. This game was not his fault at all. He's getting a lot of the blame, but it really wasn't. And I don't know. I think they had a great game plan, but also it just happened that Purdue just stunk it up, and that's just the reality, and that's why I do think it's the worst loss recently. Would it be enough for you to punch through a board though, like they did? I know you've probably seen that meme
It wouldn't
of
be for me now.
that was a big
I wouldn't,
punch.
no,
Do you
I
see
wouldn't
that?
do
Like
that.
the board was like that looked bigger than a fist punch. That was like 10 fist punch. Dude, probably like that, right? But wow, what
The whole
player do you think
team,
that was?
you know?
That had to be Ely. No way, because those are some big punches. I mean, he's 7'4". He's got to have some big punches, right? What